In the world of Beyond the Gates, betrayal isn't just a wound, it's currency. Love turns into strategy, alliances are built from ashes, and revenge becomes the only language left for those who have lost everything. When Hayley discovers that Bill has reignited his affair with Danny, the woman she once called a friend, something inside her breaks beyond repair. But instead of falling apart, she turns her pain into power, joining forces with the ruthless Joey to destroy the man who ruined her. What begins as a calculated plan for vengeance soon spirals into a web of manipulation, greed, and psychological warfare that threatens to consume everyone connected to the Dupree empire. As secrets unravel and loyalties crumble, every decision becomes a weapon, every emotion a trap, until no one can tell who's the victim and who's the executioner. This is not just a story about revenge. It's a story about what happens when love dies, and all that's left is the hunger to make others bleed. When the truth came crashing down, Hayley felt as if the entire structure of her carefully controlled world had shattered into dust. The discovery that Bill and Danny had rekindled their relationship burned through her like acid, eating away at everything she once believed about loyalty, justice, and love. It wasn't merely betrayal, it was humiliation, an insult carved into her identity. Bill had sworn that chapter was closed, that Danny belonged to his past, a ghost best left undisturbed. Yet now, that ghost had returned, not as a memory but as a living threat, and Hayley was forced to watch them resurrect a love she thought she had buried for good. It was unbearable, but more than that, it was infuriating. She had devoted herself to Bill's redemption, to cleaning the mess of his life, to holding the image of a man who once claimed he couldn't breathe without her. To see him now, breathing freely beside another woman, her rival, made her realize that love, in its purest form, could mutate into the most precise form of vengeance. Hayley's mind turned from heartbreak to strategy. Anger was no longer an emotion, it became a design, a rhythm that pulsed beneath her skin. If Bill could play God with people's hearts, then she would become the devil who dismantled his peace. To do that, she needed an ally, someone ruthless enough to see past morality and into the mechanics of destruction. Joey fit that role perfectly. His name had always lingered in the corners of scandal, a man who thrived on chaos and manipulation, someone who viewed betrayal as an art. He despised Bill and Danny for reasons of his own, professional humiliation, financial rivalry, and the subtle disdain of being underestimated by their polished world. Hayley didn't trust him, she didn't need to. Their alliance was built not on faith but on shared poison, two wounded predators recognizing each other's scent. The plan evolved quietly, like a cancer spreading through hidden veins. Joey proposed the first move, financial sabotage. He knew Bill's weakness, his tendency to intertwine business with emotion. Danny had access to accounts that could be traced back to projects under Bill's name. All they needed was one fabricated connection, one falsified trail that would make Bill look like he was laundering funds through Danny's modeling contracts. Hayley hesitated only for a moment before agreeing. Her moral hesitation was brief, swallowed quickly by the hunger to see him fall. Together they forged documents, manipulated emails, and planted whispers in the right ears. Soon, Fairmont Crest was buzzing with rumors. The powerful Dupree family began questioning the integrity of their golden son-in-law, and every hushed conversation in the mansion seemed to echo with the word scandal. Bill sensed it but refused to believe Danny could be the center of such destruction. He dismissed the warning signs, believing his love would protect them both. But Danny's unease betrayed her. She noticed the glances at social gatherings, the way Martin suddenly became distant, and Anita's forced smiles. Guilt began to eat at her, even though she had done nothing wrong. Joey and Hayley watched from the shadows, letting fear do their work for them. Every anxious look Danny gave Bill made him defensive, every defensive word he spoke deepened the distance between them. The beauty of destruction was that sometimes all you had to do was start it, gravity would do the rest. But the deeper Hayley went, the less she recognized herself. Nights became sleepless, haunted by the image of Bill's confused face when he would inevitably discover the betrayal. She told herself she wanted him to suffer, yet somewhere in her chest lingered a faint pulse of the old love, a love that made the revenge feel less like justice and more like suicide. Joey noticed the flicker of hesitation. He began to manipulate her emotions subtly, reminding her that Danny was not innocent, that she had once plotted against her, that this revenge was necessary to restore balance. Whether the stories were true or not didn't matter. Hayley's grief made her susceptible to every lie he planted. As the fabricated financial leaks hit the media, the Dupree empire trembled. Bill's reputation imploded overnight. He faced interrogations, board investigations, and the humiliation of public suspicion. Danny stood beside him at first, but under pressure, her loyalty began to crumble. She questioned him, doubted him, and finally accused him. The world turned into a courtroom, and love became a weapon. Hayley watched from afar, her victory both intoxicating and nauseating. She told herself it was justice, but when she saw Danny's hollow expression, she felt an ache she couldn't name. Joey called it weakness. He told her that guilt was the currency of fools. Yet Joey's ambitions exceeded revenge. He wanted the Dupree fortune, the influence, the access. He used Hayley as his key. Her emotions, her proximity, her desperation. When he began blackmailing her to push the plan further, she realized she was no longer the author of vengeance but its puppet. He had evidence of their conspiracy, encrypted messages, recordings of their meetings, even footage of their late-night encounters where they planned Bill's downfall. Joey threatened to expose her if she didn't obey. Fear replaced rage, and Hayley found herself ensnared in the same trap she had built for Bill. Anita, ever the matriarch, sensed the shift in power dynamics. She began quietly investigating Joey, her instincts sharp as razors. Martin, too, played his own secret game, pretending to help Bill salvage his reputation while covertly aligning with Joey to secure his own control over the company. Every player at Fairmont Crest wore a mask, each betrayal feeding another, until the entire estate felt like a stage set for tragedy. Leslie observed all this from a distance, collecting secrets like trophies, waiting for the moment to strike. Hayley's breaking point came one stormy night. She couldn't bear the weight of Joey's manipulation any longer. She snuck into his office to steal back the evidence that bound her to him. The air smelled of expensive whiskey and deception. Her trembling hands opened drawers, files, digital backups, all proof of her crimes. When she turned, Joey stood at the door, calm and eerily amused. He had expected her. His smirk was a verdict, she was already guilty. As he stepped forward, she realized there was no escape. Her breath hitched, and in a blur of panic, a gunshot shattered the silence. The world froze. Joey fell, his eyes wide with disbelief, his blood painting the carpet like the final signature of their alliance. In the aftermath, chaos reigned. Anita intervened swiftly, shaping the narrative before the authorities could. It was self-defense, she declared. Joey had threatened Hayley, and the family would protect her at all costs. The media accepted it, the police complied, and Fairmont Crest buried another scandal beneath layers of polished lies. Bill and Danny were forced to resign from the company, exiled from the very empire they had once helped build. But nothing stays buried forever. Among Joey's files that were supposedly destroyed, one video survived, a recording of his final confession, addressed to an unnamed recipient. In it, Joey detailed how Hayley had orchestrated everything, how the revenge was hers, not his. That video found its way into Leslie's hands. She watched it alone, her reflection flickering in the screen, a smile forming slowly. For her, it was not blackmail, it was opportunity. The kind that could shift the balance of power in her favor. Months later, Hayley lived by the sea, far from Fairmont Crest, her solitude a fragile illusion of peace. She told herself it was over, that she had escaped. But each night, when the wind howled through the windows, she heard echoes, Joey's laughter, Bill's betrayal, Danny's sobs. She wondered if vengeance had liberated her or merely transformed her into something unrecognizable. On the table lay a single envelope, postmarked with no return address. Inside, a note written in Leslie's elegant hand, "The gates never closed." And as the waves crashed outside, Hayley realized that the story wasn't finished, it had merely shifted its stage. The ghosts she had created were not gone, they were gathering. Waiting. In the quiet aftermath of everything, the empire of Fairmont Crest stood like a monument to deceit, polished on the outside, rotting from within. Every whisper, every betrayal, every desperate choice had left its mark on those who survived it. Hayley, once a woman of ambition and control, now drifted through her days like a ghost of her own creation. She had won the war but lost the meaning of victory. Somewhere in the distance, waves broke against the shore, as if echoing the countless promises that had drowned beneath the weight of greed and pride. Bill and Danny were gone, but their shadows lingered. Joey was dead, yet his influence spread through the cracks of memory like smoke that refused to fade. And somewhere far away, Leslie held the truth in her hands, smiling at the chaos still waiting to unfold. The game was not over, it had merely changed form. Behind every silence, another secret waited to be born. As the sun sank over the horizon, Hayley realized that freedom was never real, it was only the pause between two storms. And in that pause, where guilt and power intertwined, she could almost hear a voice whisper through the wind, "Beyond the gates, nothing ever truly ends."